afternoon. This is Katie Huff Ministries and Setting Yourself Free podcast. And I am so excited that I get to have warrior mom, Tracy Seplovic, who is here, who has been tenacious, Mother of the Year, taking care of her son, Noah. She has an incredible book called A Mother's Journey in Healing Her Son with Autism. She also has been a blessing to our country as an Air Force veteran, which I say thank you. God bless you. I appreciate all your service in just taking care of us as a woman in the Air Force. She's an author, as I said, with her best-selling. She's certified integrative health practitioner. She's a speaker, and she has a passion for helping moms and families to make good decisions in taking care of their children and her son, who is functioning beyond all you could ever imagine with his autism. So here is Tracy Seplovic. Welcome to the show, Tracy. I'm so grateful and blessed that you are here to share your story.
Well, thanks for having me. And I'm happy to be here. And by the way, the title's Warrior Mom, A Mother's Journey in Healing Her Son with Autism.
Thank you.
It's been a great and my most beautiful journey with my son. And I always say you can look at anything in life as an obstacle, or you can look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And my son gave me purpose, and I have no regrets in life. I'm living my purpose. I'm educating parents. And, I say my number one thing I tell parents is, with God, all things are possible. So when you set a clear intention to do something, you can for sure, accomplish that goal.
Man, and that's one of my favorite scriptures is you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And what he brings us to, he'll bring us through. And your mission is so honorable. And I'm grateful. And I just want to remind everyone, Tracy, before we get too ahead of ourselves, that you're going to want to see this video. You're going to want to watch this podcast. And we are on YouTube under KF Ministries. And you need to go to Spotify. You need to go to Apple, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, X. We're on everything, because this is going to be such a wealth of knowledge that you're not going to want to miss it. And I want to make sure that you know that that's where it is. So with that, Miss Tracy, can you share a sequence of events that you went through to get where you are with your son, Noah, and all that you've been through and how you've overcame it all?
So I knew that before Noah even, came to me, because he came to me in a dream before he was ever even conceived, that there was this big bright light in this beautiful little face. It was him at about 6 months old. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, Steve, we're going to have a boy someday. And he's going to make a profound difference in this world. Or I am, I guess. So after that, within 30 days, Noah was conceived. And everyone was like, oh, you're going to have twin girls. I said, no. I said, I'm having a boy. God already told me I'm having a boy. And so when Noah was born, it was a very difficult birth. So it was a difficult pregnancy and a difficult birth. And we almost lost him at birth. And I had pushed so hard for so long on no drugs. And that my eyes swelled shut. So when he was born, I couldn't see. And I was just like, so I was relying on my senses to, is he okay? Does he have, 10 fingers, 10 toes? And then I heard him cry, and I'm like, give me drugs. So, anyway, from there began such a beautiful journey. And Noah, after certain periods of time, after 2 months, 6 months, he became very colicky, very sick, very ill. Although up into a year, he was meeting all of his milestones. He was doing really well. He was so mobile. It was insane. We called him our little monkey, or as my husband would say in Serbian, his little Maimoon. And this kid was like climbing the walls, everything climbing. And he walked early, he crawled early, motor skills, he did not lack at all.
Mm.
And then came that well baby visit at age 1. And after that well baby visit, I'm just going to let the audience put 2 and 2 together. My son became very ill. He broke out in a full body rash. He had a fever for over a week, and a very high grade fever. So as a new mom, I was frantic. And all I kept getting from the pediatrician over and over is, this is normal. This is normal. Everything's normal. And after that, so they had to give him like a mild steroid to get rid of the rash, because after 3-4 weeks, it wasn't going away. And but over maybe like a 3 or 4 month period, I started to see this decline where my son lost all of his speech, because he had those baby words, mama, dada, baba, where he lost all his speech. He lost a lot of motor skills. That little kid who could climb everything could no longer climb anymore. He couldn't jump off 2 feet. I'm grateful to God that he was still able to walk. And the lights went out. So he lost a lot of cognitive function. And it was like nobody was home. And I kept asking the pediatrician over and over, what's wrong with my son? He's totally regressing. I don't understand. Oh, it's normal. Kids regress and then they progress. And if I had $1 for every time that woman told me it was normal, I'd be a pretty wealthy mom these days. But I knew something wasn't right. And over time, it just got worse. And everyone's like, oh, well, boys develop later and they talk later and this and that. And there's, all of these, what I say, myths, right? It's not true. Those aren't facts. That means something's wrong. And what I've always known to be is to trust my motherly intuition, our inner knowing, because that is God speaking to us. Anytime that I had this feeling, I'm like, something's wrong. I know that's God's way of telling me it's time for you to act. So during all this 2.5 years of asking my pediatrician what was wrong, even to the point of saying, is it possible my son could have autism? And she looked me dead in the eye and said, no, he just needs speech. He's fine. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I just kept pursuing speech, right? And wasn't working.
Right.
And then I had 2 preschools that were like, I'm sorry, your kid has special needs. We can't care for him. I had Harbor Regional Center who lost my paperwork. They were supposed to forward it on to a clinical psychologist for a proper evaluation. They lost it. And I mean, I don't know. It was like everywhere I turned, I hit a brick wall.
Wow.
And one day, when the second preschooler, or the owner of the second preschool, looked at me and said, your kid has special needs and he has no place here at my school.
Wow.
Now, the Detroit girl in me wanted to knock her on her ASS.
I'm sure.
I could tell you so many times in my life where I could have reacted to people like that. And I chose not to. I chose to focus on my son, focus on his well-being. And I went to the office and I'm crying. I'm like, I'm just a mess. I'm mad I can't knock her out. I'm lost. And I just asked God for help.
Right.
And I walked into the office and my husband had hired a new front desk woman. And I was blown away. He's like, hey, this is Catherine. And she introduces herself and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, well, not really. And lo and behold, she was a mom of a son with autism.
Wow.
And she came into my life long enough to tell me what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And then she was gone and I never saw her again. So don't ever underestimate God's power to just send you an angel at the most perfect moment. Because apparently our kids went to the same, special needs preschool, but I never saw her again. She was like, I'm sorry, I thought I could take a full-time job, but I can't, thank you for the opportunity. And she was gone.
Well, God is in the details.
No kidding. And then, so I went through Launch Preschool, which was our special needs preschool. She's like, after the age of 3, you can have them evaluated through the school district. And they did an amazing job. I mean, those women were so wonderful. It was a 3-hour evaluation. A lot of forms and paperwork to fill out beforehand. His preschool teacher gave her input, which was probably better because, mom doesn't want to believe that those things aren't possible. And I had also saw like the me that experienced Noah before age 1, before he regressed. So I was like, he could do that, but not even, because we always look at, our kids' strengths, not their weaknesses.
Right.
So she was able to give like, real feedback. And so they put all that together and they're like, I'm sorry, but we do find that Noah is autistic like. So they can't diagnose. But I did take that paperwork back to the regional center where they gave us a formal diagnosis. But at that point, I had answers. At least I had answers. And I think all I heard was autism that day. And then I had to go back to the office again. And I can't remember, I had to pick something up, but I was walking down the hallway, and walking the other way was my naturopathic doctor. And we had many discussions about this. And he saw me crying and he reached out and gave me a hug. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, Noah was diagnosed with autism." And he looks at me and he backs up and he says, "Noah will be fine. I want you to go home and I want you to do your research because kids are making great strides with biomedical intervention." And I thought to myself, well, what the hell's biomedical intervention? But I don't care. I'm going to suck these tears back up into my eyes. I'm going to go home and I'm going to research the heck out of it. And I did. I was the biggest research junkie because I knew in a very short period of time, I had to get my PhD in how to heal my kid.
Good for you.
Really get my PhD? No, I didn't have time to do that. But I had to learn as much as I possibly could. And I did. I read book after book after book. I went to conferences. I learned as much as I could. I took notes. I went to parent tea talks. I went to parent meetings. If there was a local meeting near me, I went. And during this time, we were going through really tough financial times. So I ended up bartering for treatments. I negotiated whatever it was that I had to do. I sold everything that I owned, except my wedding ring, and to pay for Noah's treatments. And I didn't care. I
Yeah.
just didn't care. I was like, this is stuff.
Yes.
And I can't take it with me.
Right. Exactly.
So it was a beautiful experience. I always tell people when they ask me, well, what is the number one thing that worked for Noah? Because they're looking for that one pill. And I said, all right, I'm going to give you that one pill. And I'm going to tell you that with God, all things are possible. So when you set a clear intention to do something and to create something, because we're all little pieces of God. We all are. He made us all in his likenesses. We're all little gods and goddesses. People might not like that, but that's okay. So I am that I am, and I am a powerful creator. So I don't put it past God to create anything. Like God is the all powerful. So why am I not?
Exactly.
So if I believe in that, and right down to the cellular level, which I did. I knew Noah was going to function someday. He was not going to have any limitations, all these things that neurologists and doctors were telling me to prepare for. I said, I'm going to let it roll off my back.
Yeah.
And I thank you. I appreciate your feedback, but that doesn't work for me.
Right. Well, he is the great physician and the great healer and
Yes.
miracle maker. And if you believe in that, which I do, and you do, obviously you're a walking, talking example of that, and even have Noah as the proof of that, which is such a blessing to know and to actually be able to speak truth and hope and life into people. It's just like we every day, Tracy, have an opportunity to speak life or death into people. And when you speak life, you're giving them hope that it will all work out because God's got a plan. And it's
God.
and he'll do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever imagine. So That is incredible. And so the rest of the story is that what happened?
So first of all, we are God's disciples. So
Yes.
God will work through us
Yeah,
if you don't resist that.
exactly.
There's obstacles and there's opportunities. So
Amen.
you can choose. You're always a choice. Um, and so today, Noah's 18 years old and he drives. He's fully functioning. I mean, he is a teenager. So, they have yet to come up with
Yes.
anything for that whole teenage syndrome
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Nothing, no,
Very loving. He's very loving. He's giving to a fault, very much like his parents. Um, he is going to college for film, and he's doing everything that I wanted him to be able to do. Is he cured? No, I never used the word cured. Um, that he still has some, his challenges, especially health wise. So he's got a lot of autoimmune issues. But he drives himself to his appointments. He goes to the doctor all on his own. And he'll go get his IVs. I'm like, you have an IV appointment because we have to boost his immune system.
right.
He'll go. I mean, does he follow my dietary restrictions anymore? Absolutely not. He's like, oh, mom, there's all this good food that you never gave me. I said, honey, that's because it's not food. So I didn't give it to you. I said, but you're a choice and you're going to have to go through your own,
True.
lessons and you're going to listen to me or you're not going to listen to me. You're 18. I can't control it. I'm grateful that he did give me like power of attorney for his medical to oversee everything and make his appointments. But other than that, he is his own human being.
Exactly. Well, what a blessing. And who would,
Yes,
I mean, if you would have listened to certain individuals, he wouldn't be driving and he wouldn't be in college, right?
no. And it's really about, when I say healing, it's really about addressing the underlying conditions associated with autism, neurological disorder. It could be anything. I have my own underlying conditions. So do you, don't we all?
Right.
We're all exposed to environmental factors. We're swimming in a toxic soup.
Yes, we are.
And so it's really about getting that baseline, finding out what's going on underlying and see what it is that we can do to heal the body. Because when you heal the body, you heal the mind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And dis-ease is just that. It's dis-ease. And
Yeah.
dis-ease in your life, and we can't avoid it, like you were saying, because we're in a toxic bowl of soup. The air we breathe, the water we drink, different things like that. And medicine, a lot of times, is dealing with the disease versus dealing with how the body can heal and be functioning at an optimum level, so we don't have to have dis-ease.
Right. And the reason I wrote the book is because for a few reasons. One, I was like, why couldn't somebody just write a guidebook on what a parent should do when they get an autism diagnosis? I mean, I read Jenny McCarthy's books back then. I was reading like Dr. Jerry Cartsnell. I was reading like Dr. Kenneth Bach. Whatever it is I could get my hands on, I read it. I was going to conferences. I was listening to Dr. Andrew Wakefield and all the experts in the industry. And I was taking notes. And then when I saw a new healing modality, because Noah responded really well to diet. He really did.
That's right.
Eating real food,
Yeah.
real food. And I do say if you could pick it, pluck it, grow it, skin it, you can eat it. And nothing packaged or processed or anything. I made my own fries. I did whatever. And but so healing the gut was number one, and he responded really, really well. So we regained his speech. Now, this doesn't happen with everybody. So we do have our non-speakers in the autism community. But there's a great thing called spellers.
Yes.
Dawn Marie Gavin is going to be speaking at our conference next week, and we're going to have a spellers panel, and we're actually going to show the spellers documentary. So It really is the most like wonderful community of people that are out there to educate, but you have to be open to the information. So when I wrote my book, Warrior Mom,
There you go.
um, I wrote it with this in mind. I wanted people to hear a story, and then I wanted them to hear my struggles
Mhm.
because I wanted them to know that even even when life goes wrong or you feel like it's going wrong,
There's a curveball.
right? Or we're just being humbled. You can be a powerful creator because our house went into foreclosure. We didn't have additional money. I was bartering, negotiating, doing whatever. So I wanted them to hear that story so I don't get any excuses. Because I've mentored parents for like 13 years and I've heard the excuses. And I'm like, listen, if you're going to sit here and give the excuses, I'm not the mentor for you. I wish you well, and I wish your child or children well, but you have to be willing to do the work.
Right.
Sure, through God, all things are possible, but God's not going to grant you anything if you're sitting on your butt doing nothing. So you have to take action.
You have to be a participant in your own rescue.
Yes. So really just educating. And then part two of my book is like, what are your state resources? What questions should you ask if you think your kid might be on the spectrum? What are some good organizations? What are some not good organizations?
I was
Um,
just going to
and
ask, what
yeah.
advice do you have for someone? And you're going right down the path, so that's great.
And then the protocol that we used to heal Noah in the different healing modalities. Now, not every healing modality that I put in my book did we use because I put spelling to communicate in there, stuff like that, which was written by J.B. Hanley. I had no experience with it. He was endorsing my book and he's like, the book's great, but you did spelling to communicate no justice. And I said, well, I don't have any experience with it. And I said, but if you want to rewrite it, I'm game because he's an author. And I'm like, and he's like, gladly. So he rewrote it. I put it in the book. Anytime I give an interview, I'm like, he gets the credit for that. But certain stuff like that it it's knowledge that's needed. It truly is needed by the autism community. So I really just wanted to give parents comfort. And then at the end, I close it off with there's three kinds of parents.
Mhm.
And people might not like hearing this, but there are.
Okay.
There are the parents that are going to go the distance. They're going to break all the rules. They're going to travel near and far, and they are going to be the most powerful creators. And even as they throw everything at their kid but the kitchen sink, they're still going to look for the next best thing out there to heal their little bodies, right?
Right.
Those are the warrior parents.
Exactly.
I don't just, this was my story, which is why I called it Warrior Mom, but there are warrior dads like nobody's business. Um, the second parents, those are the ones that are just going to be compliant. Okay, well, the doctor's recommending this therapy, so we're going to do this therapy. And then, the school offers speech and some occupational therapy and stuff like that. And we're just going to go with that. Maybe today I'll take gluten out and get something gluten free, whatever. But I'm not going to go above and beyond and do my research.
Right.
And then you have the Eeyores of the world. What was me? My kids got autism. I feel sorry for me. Um, I, I don't know what to do. And the complain, no solutions. So unfortunately, I've heard it from all ends of the spectrum,
Right.
the excuses.
Right.
And I say that there are no excuses. There's a great book by Dr. Wayne Dyer,
Oh, yeah.
my favorite author in the world. My favorite book is Power of Intention, but there's a book called Excuses Be Gone.
I actually did a women's retreat, and that was one of the things is excuses be gone. And it was,
Yep.
yes, great book.
And it's really, so I wrote the book, I put the book out there, and then I remember sitting down at dinner with Del Bigtree and his wife, and after I had done an interview, and he said, "What's your next step?" And I said, "Well, I've always wanted to do an autism conference." And Autism One has kind of fizzled out a little bit. Her husband passed away, and she's had some health problems, so they're only doing virtual at this point. And so I used to run conferences back in the day for like 7, 8 years. I did conferences both on, the private side, and then I worked at Hyatt running all their conventions and events.
Awesome.
So I'm like, I want to run an autism conference.
Oh,
So I decided to do an autism conference. So I said, "Hey, Del, if I do this, will you speak?" Number one speaker. And he's like, "Whatever I can do to support you, I'm happy to do so." So I put together this wonderful conference called Autism Health Summit.
yes.
And you can go to autismhealth.com, and it is next week, February 2nd and 3rd in San Antonio, Texas. And it is a full 2-day event with some of the best speakers in the industry. So we have Del Bigtree, we have Nikki Willis, we have Dr. Peter McCullough, we have Dr. James Lyons Wheeler, Dr. James Neuenschwander. We have Dr. Judy Mikovits. We love Dr. Judy. And I mean, there's such a huge lineup. And we're going to have a VIP cocktail hour where we're going to show a preview of Protocol 7, which is Dr. Andrew Wakefield's new motion picture that's coming out. And he's going to be there to do a Q&A. And so is his lead actors and producers, and everyone's going to be there. And so we're super excited about that. I have the most amazing family flying out from London. They are Jeff Sewell and his family. So Jeff Sewell and his wife Simone recovered their daughter Sienna from an autism diagnosis. And when I say recover, she's fully functioning today. And so Jeff Sewell has been like a world-renowned tenor singer. He's like, his voice is amazing. And so they're flying out from London to tell their story, and he's going to sing my national anthem, and they are also him and his daughters are going to sing A Mother's Prayer.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if y'all have heard it, but it was also sang by Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion.
I think that you might want to supply everyone with Kleenexes while you're there.
Yes. Yes. I have it on my YouTube, their story. It's so beautiful. I did a little clip from her interview, and they're amazing. So in the VIP hour, they are going to do some performances for us. And I'm so like, that's my highlight. I'm so excited. So excited. I mean, I'm one of the extras in Protocol 7 for Andy's movie. And I am excited for public to see. We are doing a little fundraiser as well for Andy's film. And to get it out there and get it out in the open. And so he does need funding for that. So anyway, it's going to be an amazing event, and people could see it virtually. They don't have to attend in person, because I know travel is expensive these days. Right now it's last minute. We've got 1 week until showtime. And if you want to do a virtual attendance, it's $49. You also receive the recording for it a week later. And it's just going to be something that you don't want to miss, with some great information.
So Tracy, how do they sign up for the virtual?
So on the main page of autismhealth.com, people can sign up virtually. There's a general admission, a VIP admission. We also have a professional track. And if you cannot attend in person, you'll to receive CME credits, continuing medical education credits. This is for doctors and nurses, as you know.
Yes. Yes.
So we are offering 14 CMA credits, I think, at this point.
Oh, that's great.
As long as all my doctors sign their contracts.
Right.
And it's going to be super great. And then afterwards, I'm going to be able to offer that virtually. So they will be able to, if they cannot attend in person, they can receive the CME credits virtually with the virtual CME pass. And I'll have more information on that afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So I was just gonna say, where do people start to begin to set themselves free in all of this? And I would suggest, obviously, give them your information, like a website, even though go to obviously, this conference either virtually or in person. It sounds absolutely amazing. In fact, I can totally give homage to the fact that I've met Dr. Bartlett, I've Dr. Maklovich, and some of the other ones that you've mentioned. They're amazing, unbelievably educated people that can really enlighten your path.
I'm trying to get Dr. Bartlett there. I love that man. I swear I have him on speed dial when something like a health issue arises.
Great. Yeah.
He's so wonderful. He's the one that's always so responsive.
Yeah. You wonder how they have I wonder when they sleep, because they're constantly moving and on the go, which is a beautiful blessing for all of us and for all the people that they get to speak life and hope into.
Yeah, so people can, my books are sold wherever books are sold. If they want the Audible version, it is an Amazon exclusive, so they can only get the Audible through Amazon. But my book can be purchased wherever books are sold online. Some Barnes and Noble have them in person. It's just at various different stores. You just have to check online. But they can go to warriormom.org.
Awesome.
And they can see wherever. If they want a hardcover book, they do have to go through me, and it is a signed author copy, and I will mail it to them. So it's probably more affordable coming through me to get the hardcover version. So we do have those. And also, if they have any questions, they can always reach out to me at info@warriormom.org. And I am happy to answer whatever questions it is that they may have. And it might take me a little while to get back, but I will respond within a few days, except the next week. You won't hear from me the next week.
Exactly, because you'll be recovering from this amazing weekend. But tell them again, infowarrior.com.
info@warriormom.org. And then the conference is autismhealth.com.
Okay, so once again, I like to have people hear this 3 times because you're writing this down, I know. And so I want Tracy to say just one more time to make sure you've got the dots in the right spot. So once again,
is warriormom.org and autismhealth.com.
Amen. Very good. Well, this has been so encouraging, exciting. There's so many things, and obviously Tracy is a walking, talking example of someone who is not going to accept anything but exceptional, which is amazing. And what her son has gone through and who he is today is a walking, talking example of God's blessings on this family. And you too can be blessed. And you just need to start by getting educated and participating and not giving up and taking it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and 1 minute at a time, some days. So with that, I want to make sure that you need to go to YouTube and subscribe to Katie Huff Ministries. You need to go to Spotify, Apple, Rumble, Instagram, Facebook, X, and get this video, get this education and this podcast so you too can be set free from anything that is holding you back. And I'm just grateful and thankful that we had this beautiful Tracy Seplovic, who is an amazing warrior mom. And I know there's a lot more warrior moms out there, and that you're going to want to be following her. So thank you, Tracy, for your heart, your service, and your tenacity to never allowing anyone take away what God has given you. So God bless you.
Yeah, and thank you for being a voice in this world. I'm truly grateful for you as well.
Well, God bless you. God is good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katie Huff with Katie Huff Ministries, and this is Bella Jean, and we're coming to you today to talk to you about setting yourself free by having first a great night's sleep. How's that going to happen? By using My Pillow.
My Pillow has incredible products. Bella Jean even has her own dog bed and loves it. She sleeps well at night, so do we. Because we also have the topper, we have the pillows, we've used the sheets, we have the towels, and we even have the slippers. So we are a family that loves My Pillow as much as my Bella Jean, and I'm hoping that your dog will love it as much as ours, and that you'll go to mypillow.com/unmasked. Again, that's mypillow.com/unmasked, and you'll get incredible discounts for your family to be setting themselves free to having a great night's sleep and having an amazing holiday season with My Pillow products. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katie Huff with Katie Huff Ministries, and I'm coming to talk to you today about setting yourself free. And what that means is it begins with taking control of your finances. So I was unfortunately introduced to a number of different financial planners that really didn't put me before their profit. And I'm glad to say that Kirk Elliott, PhD, their philosophy is people over profits. They don't rush you. They have a holistic approach. They took my SEP, they invested it into gold and silver, which obviously is diversifying. It may be for you, it may not, but I will tell you this, KirkElliottPhD.com/unmasked, they will go beyond making you comfortable and knowing where your money's going. And so I would just say, take control of your finances. Go to KirkElliottPhD/unmasked for a discount and great advice and peace of mind that you'll have.